Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today's deck profile is something that I've just been having a whole lot of fun developing. It's not something that you've probably seen in other BeelStarmon decks that are similar to this. I really just wanted to play Beelzemon and BeelStar in the same deck and have it be pretty decently good at doing what each does independently together. So that's what this deck is a combination of. So when you're looking at it, and the ratios seem really weird compared to what other people are doing for theirs. This is because this is just like my take on it and how I wanted to just have fun with both of these Digimon, as I love both of these Digimon so much. In fact, I loved them so much that when Emerge Victorious talked to me about sending me a playmat to feature on the channel, I absolutely had to have the sleepover one because it has BeelStar on the mat. So really liking this, as well as when Miko mode comes out, I am 100% playing some Miko mode, as well as Venusmon. Yeah, that deck is scary too if you haven't seen it yet. Really love this mat from Emerge Victorious. I'll have a link to them below. We actually featured them earlier this week as well when we topped, because it was their tournament that I topped in, and I actually got a second playmat for taking first in their tournament. So pretty cool that we actually end up getting two mats from them, because their work is so cool. I appreciate them sending me this one just to have and be able to feature whenever I do deck profiles featuring these Digimon, as well as just being able to partake in their tournament and win a second one. But let's go ahead and jump into this deck profile. All right, so immediately looking at it, you can kind of get the idea of what we're going for. We're using the Entmon package to help us mill some cards, as well as cycle back cards, do a little bit of searching, and then we're going to use the original Beelzemon to warp into. So we're going to skip the level 5s entirely, and our level 4s are going to be strictly used for helping us just fill the trash, and then just go Entmon immediately into Beelzemon, swing Evo into blast mode. So that is the overall idea of the deck. And then while we're just kind of building up that big aggro package there, getting into our blast mode, we're using the BeelStar engine to basically just control the opponent's board, control everything they've got, have stuff in security for anything that gets really aggro really fast against us. You know, stuff like Imperial, you know, all those Pyldramon swinging in and stuff like that. Like BeelStar package is great for dealing with decks like that, so I really like the balance that we've got going on. Usually in BeelStar, though, we see a whole lot of drawing and discarding, because you typically don't want to discard anything too important, but I feel like this deck has such good way of getting stuff back out of trash that even if we do mill a BeelStar or two, we have multiple ways now to get them back out of trash. So we'll go ahead and do this card by card and kind of explain the ratios and why we chose to go this route rather than the draw discard route. So immediately for our eggs here, first we got the OG BT2 Pagumon, the when attacking, trash top card of your deck. So this is just a one card mill. And then we have the starter deck Pagumon, which is on deletion, trash the top two cards of your deck. Typically when we attack with whatever Digimon we're swinging with that this guy is evoed on top of, we're expecting it to die. So I would just rather have the on deletion anyway, because I only expect to ever attack once with whatever this Pagumon is underneath. More than likely it'll only ever attack once, so I'd rather have the on deletion trash 2 than the when attacking trash 1. And then next we've got Entmon, our OG Entmon, on deletion, trash the top 3 cards of your deck. Just another great mill target. And you go Entmon on top of this Pagumon, swing. And that's 5 cards, 7 if you count both of them, in trash immediately. I mean, that's some really intense value right there. And then our first card to get stuff out of trash, this is our on-play Entmon. Trash a card in your hand. If you do, return one Digimon with 7 Great Demon Lords or 3 Musketeers in its type from your trash to your hand. So this works for both our Beelzemon here, because it's a 7 Great Demon Lords, as well as our BeelStarmon. So if either one of those gets milled and we need to grab one back, we have this Entmon here for on-play, grab it back. Also, if you need to ditch a very important card, because you notice we don't have a whole lot of draw discard card. If you draw into a blast mode, you can just ditch the blast mode with this Impmon and you're still okay. And it still keeps your whole engine going, as well as just trashing your option cards that you need to get out of your hand. Your Gwalt Swarmers, your Happy Bullet Showering, stuff you can't normally play necessarily. You can go ahead and just trash that stuff with this Impmon. So really good way to get dead cards out of your hand and get important cards back. Now we do have the new Impmon. This is kind of some people say some people are dropping this one down. I don't know how else to word it. And people that are running it in BeelStar decks are kind of dropping this. But I feel like since I'm going the mill route, again, most BeelStar decks are doing the draw discard route. I, however, am doing the mill, which is extremely fast. It's more blind reaction rather than controlled. So we get way more into the trash way faster than the draw discard decks do. And then this guy just helps facilitate that even more. If we go that Impmon that we talked about earlier, that's going to mill 3 and then mill 2 more with the Pogumon. If one of those is this Impmon, that's going to trash 3 more cards. That's instantly 10 cards in trash, turn 2 with a single attack from Impmon. Yeah, that's 10 cards immediately in trash on turn 2 with a single rookie. Yeah, so that value is really good there. And then on play, you don't always use the on-play one here. Where this on-play comes up is reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card with Beelzemon in its name, and 1 Iron Mako from among them to your hand. If you don't already have your Iron Mako, or you don't already have your level 6 Beelzemon, this is a great way to search and try to dig for one. But if we've already milled them, then we can get them out of trash relatively easy. So then I kind of like going Evo Impmon here into the raising area, because the follow-up turn with this guy, if I Evo warp my Beelzemon on top of this guy and then swing in with and then Evo into blast mode, that blast mode gets this 3000 DP buff, which is huge in this format. Being able to swing at 18,000 is actually pretty awesome. The Reaper decks, Susanomon, other blast modes. I feel like I'm forgetting. There was another big one that was 15,000 that's in this format that I'm forgetting at the moment. But there's lots of stuff. I mean, Wyvern's Breath, lots of different things that are 15,000 dependent, that if we can give this 3,000 boost to them, it's really nice. So I went with the full 12 Impmon here. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. We really need the Impmon to be able to go into regular Beelzemon and then into blast mode. So jumping over to our level 4s, of course we gotta have scatter mode in here. Scatter mode is just an incredible draw discard engine. I mean, even if you're not gonna use the regular Eismon with it, because we don't have any other. I mean, when testing, I ended up milling the regular Eismon way too much, that I would just rather run scatter mode and just call it a day. It's just another great way to fill up your trash for your BeelStar. Get your BeelStar live, get dead cards like blast mode, things like that out of trash or out of hand, especially if you have multiple copies of blast mode. Sometimes you might want to keep one to Evo just normally without the Duo Tamer. But Scatter Mode is just a great card to kind of go back and forth. Now, you'll notice I'm running 4 Dobermon instead. Most people are running 4 Scatter Mode 3 Dobermon, but the reason I'm running 4 Dobermon instead is because the on deletion, you trash the top 3 cards of your deck, then return 1 purple Digimon card or purple Tamer card from your trash to your hand. A lot of people kind of see this as like one less card, right? Because the other one, Scatter Mode, is going to get you 2 cards in hand, where this is only giving you 1 card in hand. However, Doberman looks at your entire trash. Mid-game, late game, when you have 30 cards in your trash, imagine getting to pick anything you need, any Digimon or Tamer that you need, and you get to add it instantly to hand. Like, that feels way more valuable than a Scatter Mode draw 3 discard 2, okay? I would rather go Doberman die than a Scatter Mode, because that Doberman is going to let me pick through my whole trash. And like I said, that Impmon that swings in on turn 2 and my trash instantly hits 10, yeah, this Doberman on the next turn is going to be even more fire, because he's going to get to recycle anything I need out of that trash. Doberman is just so good. And then, like I was saying, like, if you mill the Iron Mako, because we're running mill instead of drawing and discarding, we're running mill cards. Your Iron Mako does end up getting trashed every so often. So having Dobermon to grab it back out is so important. So having 4 copies of Dobermon, if you do mill Dobermon, you still have a good chance of drawing into more Dobermon. So that's why we max out on the Dobermon. Super important for that. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, if I can't convince you that picking a Digimon from 30 cards of your deck isn't good, then there's just no convincing you. Next, I did end up swapping in the promote. I didn't originally have promote in the build, but I really felt like if you're going to run Nelbone, then promote is like a must-have card. I mean, I don't know how many games that I've seen won because they go BeelStarmon, Nelbone, bring out 2 promote, and then swing. You know, like, that's a game-ending combo right there. So I absolutely really wanted to have promote in here just for that rush. There is argument that some people only want to run 1. It's so hard to balance because also I want to also have 2 Vilemon. You notice there's no Vilemon in here because I can't fit it. I've seen some people dropping their red and black options down to 1 each. I feel like against Reaper, these cards are so clutch. If you saw the feature match, you saw how powerful both of these options were in that matchup. So I really want to keep these guys at 2 of each, and then it's just kind of like, well, I don't know what else to cut at that point. So it's an awkward thing here of where to fit Vilemon into this deck, unfortunately. Moving on, we do have the 3 Iron Mako. I've got 3. I felt like 3 is always really solid for me. With memory fixers, I don't need more than 1 Iron Mako. I get 1 in play and I'm good. I don't really need a second. Sure, I could use its effect here of when you attack with a Digimon, you may suspend this Tamer to trash the top card of your deck. Yeah, if I have 2 Iron Makos, I can suspend both to trash 2 cards, I guess. But really just the 1. The 1 is important because then if the attacking Digimon is Beelzemon, you may Digivolve it into a Beelzemon Blast mode in your trash for a Digivolution cost of 3. And you can do that mid-attack, so even if it passes turn, the attack still goes through and still clears a whole bunch of security. So I really like the Iron Mako here for our memory fixer. You know, it makes the whole deck kind of like a thing. It makes the whole deck kind of possible doing this whole strategy. And of course, we've already kind of talked about the strategy here a bunch. Beelzemon, you're just gonna, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, which we talked about how important that is and how easy it is to do very quickly, you can Digivolve this card in your hand for a memory cost of 4. Also, when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's level 4 lower Digimon. Always a nice thing. Clears out blockers, that sort of thing. So if you're going to get ready to swing in with your blast mode here, checking a whole bunch of security, it's important to make sure there's no like blockers in your way. So that first Beelzemon will take care of any sort of blockers or you know, lesser things, memory blockers, anything like that. Whatever you need to get rid of on the low end. Usually a utility card of some type. But then blast mode, when this card is trashed from your deck, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. So again, with all the crazy mills that we do, it's actually pretty easy to get this triggered, and then really nice when you can get a little bit of extra value out of pop. So I do want to run 3 of this. One, I want to ensure that it gets trashed very quickly, because like I said, turn 2, we can be live and ready to go immediately into our whole combo. So we need to get this guy into trash quickly. 4 felt like a little too much, because I feel like I'm going to just start drawing too many at that point. But then when Digivolving, delete all your opponent's Digimon with the highest level. Good and bad. I think it's more good than bad, though. Because level, usually it's like level 6s, right? You're going to delete all your opponent's level 6s, and that feels so good. And if it's different Digimon, they might have varying levels, so being able to just do that, or varying DP. So like Gallantmon is delete the highest DP against Reaper. That does nothing. Unfortunately, in this deck, it does nothing also. But against all the other decks, Blast mode I think is more powerful than Crimson mode because it's level restrictive. So we can pop all the level 6s, all, you know, whatever the highest level is. Sometimes if they put out 2 Jet Sylphimons on you and you gotta delete both Jet Sylphimons at once, feels super good. And then your turn, for every 10 cards in your trash, this Digimon gets security attack +1. So I mean, by the time you get a blast mode in play, you have to be at least 10, because if you're warping into Beelzemon, you need to have had 10 in trash already. So then when you attack with the Beelzemon, go into the blast mode here, you should instantly already be at security attack +1. More than likely, though, in this deck, in this build, you'll probably be at security attack +2. And so that's going to be 3 checks instantly. Feels really good. Also, very good for getting around stuff like a gatekeeper. So if your opponent sticks a gatekeeper, you're still slapping them, okay? It doesn't matter. So you get those early game checks in with a couple of your Impmons, your Dobermons, that sort of thing. Take your opponent down to 3-2 security, and then you just go in and clean up with a blast mode. Then it doesn't matter if they have a gatekeeper. You're going to swing in again on the net following turn with the blast mode again, and you still have that security attack plus. So even if with a gatekeeper on board, blast mode does not care. All right, next we're going to get into the BeelStarmon Engine itself. If you're not familiar with this card, when playing this card from your hand, reduce its play cost by 1 for each 3 Musketeers Digimon card, an option card with memory cost of 7 in your trash. On play, return 1 option card with a memory cost of 7 from your trash to your hand. Then use 1 option card with a memory cost of 7 in your hand without paying its memory cost. So the idea is to play your BeelStarmons for super cheap. You want to be playing them for probably about 5 memory. And then late game, when you're ready to close out and win, you can start playing BeelStarmons for free. Okay, and that feels really good. Playing BeelStarmon for free, and then going like Nailbone, bring out 2 rush targets, swing with those, play out another BeelStar, play that same Nailbone again, just recycle it out of trash, play it again, play the promotes again, swing more. Yeah, that's like the ideal dream plays when you get to that point. So for our option lineups, we're running 3 Trump Swords. I think Trump Sword is super important because the biggest weakness for this deck, as well as the regular Beelzemon deck, is Reaper. Because Reaper doesn't have levels, you lose out on a lot of your deletion effects. Beelzemon and Blast Mode both can't delete anything because they're deep or because they're level dependent. So Trump Sword is your way of getting around those. If your opponent sticks a Gatekeeper against you, Trump Sword is your answer to Gatekeeper. If your opponent starts swinging like mad with their Reaper, Trump Sword and Security kills Reaper instantly. Okay, Trump Sword is your way to not lose against D-Reaper. One of our main cards to deal with D-Reaper. I think it's pretty obvious what the other card is. Next, I do have the Fly Bullet in here. This card is just really powerful. 7 play cost, delete one of your opponent's level 6 or lower Digimon. I mean, that's just... in most games, this card is great. In one particular matchup in this whole format, this card's not good. But against everything else in this entire game, this card is boss, okay? So, like, it's totally awesome, again, in every other aspect of this game. So I do at least want to have 3 in here because it's a very powerful card. Nailbone, we already talked about, how it's important. Whether you're playing promotes out for rush or if you've got the Vilemon in your deck and you need to go like super defensive, whatever the case may be, it's really great for that. Also can get hit security and still can play out something. You don't get your on-play effects, so keep that in mind on your Impmons there. You don't get any on-play effects, but still pretty good. Even it gets hit in security. Again, if you're playing the Vilemon, being able to throw out a blocker could be pretty imperative. Next, we've got the Gwalt here, 7 play cost again. If you have a Musketeers, you can play it without meeting its color requirements, and then delete all play cost 7 or less. This card was really good, again, in the Reaper matchup. They go really wide. They get multiple Jerrys out there. Pallet's Head, what is it? The Feet, yeah, all their stuff. They have so much stuff in there that they can put out. Their blocker, being able to just wipe their whole field and leave just a mother on field feels really good. So Gwalt can really set your opponent back in that matchup, and even just in other matchups in general. I think this card is really, really powerful. You just got to be really cautious when you play it that you can delete your own stuff as well. Now that might be a good thing, deleting your Dobermons, your Scatter Modes, your Impmons that have the on deletion effects. Like that might be a good thing, especially if they attacked and they didn't succeed in getting deleted. Then you can play out your BeelStarmon and ensure that they get deleted when you play this Gwalt. Happy Bullet Showering, same premise here. Delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. Very similar in regards to the Gwalt. Just that big blanket, delete your opponent's like whole board. And then even in some matches, like if your opponent just puts out one big body and they pass turn with it, this is still a great card. I mean, if it's the only thing you have in your available to play, it's in some aspects it's just as good as a Trump Sword. It's just as good as a Fly Bullet. If that's the only thing they have on their field is that one big beastly thing, they go Susano to pass turn to to delete something on your field, okay, well, I'm just going to happy bullet showering your Susano away. So yeah, you know, it's a pretty awesome card. And then the last card, this is our last tech against D-Reaper. Again, D-Reaper is super like popular right now, and so as long as it's popular, we got to kind of tech against it, because it is this deck's like probably their weakest matchup, or their strongest matchup. I don't know how you want to look at it. Fighting D-Reaper with this deck sucks, okay? So having stuff to deal with it is good. I think purple in general kind of suffers against dealing with that deck, because a lot of purple stuff is level restrictive. But Psychmon here, all turns, players can't reduce play cost. So anytime they want to use Mother D-Reaper's effect to reduce their play cost and get, you know, multiple plays out in one turn, you know, Psychmon's just going to turn it off. They can clear this relatively easy depending on the build they're using. You know, they can go Spiral Masquerade, they can use Ultimate Flare, the Pallet's Head. You know, multiple cards in their deck can clear this guy, but he's just a low commitment. He's a 3 play cost rookie. Evoing him on top of a Pagumon and you get some mills out of it, you know, like, sure, why not? That feels pretty or all right to me. I don't mind it so much. So it's a low commitment that they have to then spend multiple turns answering. It's a good card. I think it's a pretty solid little easy tech in sort of thing. Now, to tech in the Psychmon, I did have to drop the Vilemon. I know I keep talking about Vilemon, but yeah, so I've dropped the Vilemon in favor of the Psychmon just for that particular matchup. As long as that deck is popular, I need something to answer it for this particular deck in general. And that's the kind of the whole idea there. We're just gonna use BeelStar to control everything, and then use Blast Mode to just punch them in the face super hard, and then we're using everything else to facilitate both engines. And that's what I like about this, is the Impmon stuff, the Scatter Mode, the Dobermon, like, they're all of those cards, they're engines to fill up your trash, okay? And it doesn't matter how you're doing it, right? You're just filling up your trash for both strategies, BeelStar and your Beelzemon Blast Mode combos, right? So I love it. It works for both strategies. Fill up your trash. Just fill up your trash as fast as possible, and then play out these super bomb-tastic, super awesome, pistol-wielding, smart bullet-following, crazy awesome demons, okay? Like, this is a really cool deck, okay? I'm really excited to get these guys on the field even more. I can't wait to keep playing this all through EX2 until BT9 gets here. I want to have a lot of fun with this deck. It looks like a ton of fun. I've had a ton of fun with it so far. I just want to keep playing it, really. I mean, that's all there is to it. I just want to have fun with this deck, and that is exactly what I'm doing.